Hello. Buy me a coffee, blah, blah. Right, okay, what have I got for you today? Well, we have an article from a blog called The Lies They Tell, which is a great title for a blog. And if you're not subscribed, now may be a good time to do so. So The Lies They Tell here, a blog about the world of gender identity ideology. Now, so this was it was posted on the 6th of June, and it's called A Trans Man Walks into a Gay Bar. Book launch. So it looks like somebody on our behalf, and we know who, thank you, went into, or attended, or therefore, zoomed in, to a book launch called A Trans Man Walks into a Gay Bar, which is a book by a woman, right? Okay, so a woman walks into a gay bar, right? Okay, so I'm going to read this to you, and then, just I'll drop in my pearls of nonsense, right? Here we go. Harry Nicholas told us she'd wanted to know what spaces I could take up, when she really meant what single-sex male spaces I could cosplay in. That's the opening salvo here from A Trans Man Walks into a Gay Bar. As usual, you'll find in the doobaries the information you need to understand what I'm talking about. The blurby bit comes next. Babes! Exclamation mark. We're celebrating the launch of A Trans Man Walks into a Gay Bar. Unfortunately, it's not a launch into space. A gay bar, and we'd love for you to join us. Expect unapologetic queer performances, raucous laughter, and big queer energy. These people are fucking insane. And big queer energy with performances from Harry Nicholas, Shivani Dave as Dishy Sumac, and Adam Smith with a Z. Tossers, followed by an in-depth Q&A with Ryan Butcher, head of news at Pink News. He's had to delete his Twitter today because he made a twat of himself. He's a bit of a twat anyway. He's been around for years on the gay scene being twattish. Haven't you, Ryan? Bless you. Books will be available to buy and sign on the evening. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. First performance at 7:15. And then it says about the performers. So it tells us a bit about the performers. Harry Nicholas, him, is an author and campaigner. He has contributed to publications in The Guardian, oh dear God, BBC, Newsbeat, no, Metro, and Huffington Post. BBC Three's viral video, Things Not to Say to a Trans Person, A Trans Man Walks into a Gay Bar, is his first book. So she's been at it a while. I think it's a she, and it's a she, right? Shivani Dave, they, them. Is a journalist and broadcaster specialising in LGBT hands and knees and bumps of daisy people, news, culture and history. They have made the multi-award winning podcast The Long Books, shared untold stories of Britain's queer history and black and gay back in the day. Right? Bringing to life a photo archive of black LGBTQIA+ history from the 1970s to 2000. I bet that's interesting. In drag, they perform as Dishy Sumac, the only Tory you would want to see in his pants. This sounds like an evening of erudite engagement with high art. High fart, more like. Right. Adam Smith with a Z, him, is a writer and podcast producer. His book, get this, right? His book. I can't say it. Wait, sorry. Right, okay, his book. Deep Sniff. This is real. Deep Sniff. A History of Poppers and Queer Futures. For fuck's sake. Repeater Books 2021 won the Polari First Book Prize and was a finalist for the Lambda Literary Award. Because this is what they do. They give them, it's all backslapping, isn't it? They all go, oh, that was good. We'll give you this. Give it to him. Why? Well, because it upset the hetties, won't it? Right, okay. I've got to say it again. Deep Sniff. A History of Poppers and Queer Futures. He is the writer and producer. You can talk about looking up your own arse piece, literally, right? He is the writer and producer of the BBC podcast series, The Film We Can't See, and co-producer of the Log Books podcast. He's always working on a novel, is writing more non-fiction books, including one about foot fetishes. That's from Eventbrite. Yeah, somebody going, what can we do in the city? Anything that, have a look on for the kids and us, There's one here about foot fetishes. What? Foot fetishes. No. Try the zoo. The book, written by Harry Nichols, the book is exactly what the title suggested to be. A woman's experience of cosplaying as gay in the world of the sauna and grinder. As per the usual, a roll call of trans activists provide the endorsements. There's an overwrought endorsement from fellow heterosexual trans activist Fallon Fox Fisher, damning with faint praise from Christine Burns, but Daniel Harding, author of the book Gay Man Talking, gives it a thumbs up. Nicholas also writes for Pink News and is just 26 years old, according to his Twitter bio. The audience, right? This is interesting. Mostly the audience was made up of trans-identified females, or TIFs, many of whom passed, and of course Nicholas's friends and family, with a notable trans activist or three here and there. Three, presumably gay men, were sat at the table together. I got the impression they were there out of morbid ally curiosity. And despite clapping in all the right places, one could not take his face out of a rictus of bemusement, whilst another held a poker face to rival mine. Then we have the opening speech. Nicholas told us that she had chosen the Royal Vauxhall Tavern, booking it a year in advance, because it was a very special place to her, being her first gay boy night out. Sick in the head, you sick woman. Right? It was also the place Freddie Mercury was fabled to have bought Princess Diana. Both died well before Nicholas was knee-high to a grasshopper. I mean, they have to make it up, don't they? And the place Lily Savage made his name. Ditto, not old enough to even know. Right? It was a place she could go on a pilgrimage to find her true self and have a night of gay debauchery. The homophobia is rank, isn't it? She's a rank homophobe. Larping as a man. Mentally unwell. Gotta be, don't you think? Could be wrong. Here's the bit that's a bit odd. Odd, to say the least. Mum and Dad were also sat dutifully in the audience to listen about their once lesbian daughter talk about her desire to be a gay slag. The two acts had been invited along to celebrate queer masculinities. The break would be a chance to buy the book and to have a fag and cigarette outside. Bada bum. Also in the audience was the man, who as far as I can tell really is a man. She is due to marry. Liam Beattie has previously worked as policy officer for the Terence Higgins Trust and is now public advisor at the Royal College of Nursing and trustee at Sex Education Forum, which have form for putting out incredibly dodgy materials. There are then examples in the Dubris, in the article, of these materials. Interestingly, there has been a distinct uptick in magazine pieces featuring trans people's issues at the RCN since Beattie's appointment in April 2022. And then there was a reading of the book, or a part of the book. The book starts from the point of Nicholas's breakup with a long-term girlfriend, who Nicholas dated well before identifying as the opposite sex, and had been with for several years. She had identified as a lesbian at first. After starting testosterone, she had a growing attraction to men, and post-breakup she had the realization she never had a boyhood, and was now a single gay man. Get the white van. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Therefore, the world of dating apps and alt Twitter accounts, cue knowing laughter from some, were a new world to her. Queer spaces has long time been a phrase trotted out by LGBT activists, mainly to bemoan the demise of them, and Nicholas told us she had wanted to know what spaces I could take up, what single-sex male spaces I could cosplay in. She spoke of her nervousness of going into male spaces. And thus the reading was about her first night out as a gay trans man, which happened to be at the Royal Vauxhall Tavern. Now, I'm going to leave you to read the rest of that, because there's quite a bit of it to it. It's a well-written, very well-written article, and thank you so much for that, because it will break it down to you exactly what's going on there. And I think it's worthwhile you taking a coffee and spending some time reading it, as a lot of work has gone into it. And thank you to the author for doing so. Make no bones about it, this is a problem for gay men. These women need to go away, the same as it a problem for women with these bloody men who won't go away. So I think it's behoving of Grindr. I mean, what the fuck are you doing? You absolute morons. Absolute morons. Fine, have them on there, right? Have them on there. If that's what you want. Nobody's going to... I'm used draft for years, but, who bother, right? So there's no longer a space that a gay man can be in that can't be taken up by some LARPing woman, which is what this is, a LARPing woman. All right? How dare you, madam? How dare you? Same as the women who've been putting up with this for ages. The gay men need to wake up and recognise what these TIFs are going to do, these trans-identified females. Now, I've said before about the biggest problem I've got with this is somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody is going to get hurt, and that somebody will be a woman. will be a woman. Anybody who's read about Elliot Page, what's been happening over the last couple of days, will recognise that that's somebody who is deeply, deeply unwell and is running from womanhood. This TQ plus nuttery is damaging people on a grand scale, and organisations like Grindr and Pink News and other twats that are supporting it need to start looking at themselves very closely, because there is a reckoning coming. Right? And if you find yourself in a situation where you've got some woman who's telling you she's a gay man, then I suggest that you tell her to screw off. Because the best thing you can do with these people is be honest with them. They won't like you for it, they'll hate you for it, which of course they're allowed to feel. Do it. Do it while you can. How dare she think she's got anything to bring to the male experience? She hasn't. And this is exactly how women feel about trans-identified males. Say something. Say something, because soon you won't be able to. Okay. Thank you very much. The Lies They Tell. For that article. It's brilliant. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.